Hello, crafty friends. Today we're playing with one of my favorite stamp sets that I've seen lately, the Beach Day stamp set. And it also comes with a set of dies. The dies are kind of amazing. Some of them are off of the sheet right now, but you can cut out this beach shack, the umbrella, the chair, the surfboard, the little sandcastle can be cut out. And then there's a couple of waves that you can use, a little fencing. So lots of fun to have with this one. The card I'm going to be making is actually fairly simple. It's inspired by a card I saw online by Heidi Collins that I thought was just beautiful. Stamping and some coloring on it. I'm going to add a couple of cutouts and pop that up a little bit. And I'll be using the Wishing You a Beautiful Day sentiment on this one. And I'm also going to do some stamping on the inside. So let's get going. For the front of the card, we're going to have several layers here. So the base layer is cardstock cut at 4.25 by 4.25 by 5.5, so it'll just fit exactly onto the front of a normal card. And then we have a layer. I'm using some wood look paper, and this paper will be cut at 4 inches by 5.25. I might use this side. It's double-sided, it has two different looks. I'll try both of them. And then the next layer, I've actually cut out from the inside of the first layer. That'll make it a little bit thinner as you stack all these things together. I did that for a couple of reasons. One, to reduce the bulkiness, but then I also have a die that's exactly the right size that I wanted, and it has a little stitching embossing on the edge. So I'm using that. If you don't have a die, I wouldn't try to cut out the center to the exact dimensions. It's more work than it's worth, and you could just cut a separate piece of paper for that. And then I have a white cardstock, which is what I'll be stamping on, and this one is 4.5 by 3 1/8. So let's do some of our stamping first, because I want to stamp the outline and then let it dry for a minute while we put the rest of the card together. I'm going to be using Mocha ink, which is close to my heart color. It's not, I think sometimes using a dark brown or a dark blue instead of black adds a little bit more to your projects. You tend to use black all the time, especially for outlines. This might bleed a little bit when we do the coloring, but I think for this look, this beachy kind of look, that's perfectly okay. If you really don't want anything like that going on, then you'll want to use probably like the Memento black ink or a StazOn that won't bleed at all after it's dry. So that looks great. We've got our little beach shack there. And now I'm going to, let me put a little bit of grass around that. I'm going to use this sea glass color. A little bit of a bluish green. I think that'll work well. I'm going to put some by that post, some by that post, and a little bit here under the ramp. And then, let's see, I also want to stamp these little seagulls, which I didn't put on my block, and I'll do those in the Mocha as well. I'll do 2 seagulls. One there. Nothing says beach like seagulls gliding through the air, right? I love being at the beach. All right, now let me see, what else am I gonna wanna stamp? We're gonna have 2 little surfboards, and I've cut these out from, I think the paper's called Life is Beautiful. It's the one with all the colors in it. I might have the name wrong, but it's one of the current paper packs. So I've cut those so that there's kind of some vertical lines going through the surfboards. Give it some different colors, and we have this little outline stamp that we'll put over it. I love the colors in that paper, even if I don't remember exactly the name of it. All right, and then I'm gonna do a little bit of second generation stamping to create some sand. So there's a little stamp that comes with this that's got like grains of sand and some small shells. And what I mean by second generation is when you ink it up and you stamp, you get a dark image. But if you stamp again without inking it up, it's a little bit muted, and I think that will be good for the sand here. So you just ink up your stamp it on a scrap piece of paper, and then stamp it onto your paper, and you get, you know, a lighter color. You can do that 2 or 3 or 4 times to get, you know, something very subtle if that's what you're going for. But I think this works just great for what I'm doing here. Maybe one more to go a little off the edge here. Okay. Now on this particular card, I also decided that I want to do stamping on the inside of the card. And I'm going to make kind of a scene. And so I cut a piece of paper to go on the inside. Let me see, this is 4 by 5 1/4, so it'll be like a 1/4 inch smaller than the card base all around. And I have several stamps from the stamp set on this block already, kind of laid out. And when I'm using a big block like this, I like to kind of do the ink to the stamp instead of the stamp to the ink, if that makes sense to you. You know, sometimes you hold the stamp above the ink pad. Now I haven't actually used any of these stamps before, so let me do one on scrap paper. That'll season the stamp set a little bit, and then the second image will be even better. But that actually came out really pretty sharp. And that's why I cut a separate piece of paper, because I thought this might be a little difficult to get exactly the way I wanted it. I also want to color on this, which will bleed through to the back side of this white paper a little bit with the markers. And if I was coloring directly on the inside of the card base, you would see it through the back of the card. So this extra piece of paper helps avoid that. I already just smudged it with my finger, so let me flip it over. That's the beauty of two-sided paper. You can always flip it over and try again when you're stamping. So I put happy birthday. I have a little birdie up there. I have a sand castle, an umbrella, and a beach chair. I kind of love all of these icons. And then I'm going to put, I'm going to do the sand and the shells again with the lighter color in here. Kind of like building a scene. So you can make it whatever you want and get creative and play with it and put things in different places and use different pieces or don't use different pieces. I hope this inspires you, if you have this set, to pull it out and play with it. And if you don't have this set, you can buy it or borrow it from a friend. I think this is one that will get a lot of use in anybody's scrap room. All right, I'm happy with that. And now I'm gonna start assembling this. So let me see how I wanna do this. I'm gonna put little bit of glue on the first layer. I'll just go around the inside of the frame. And then this all will go on a card front. And then the wood, let's see, this color or this color? I think I'll go with the white, more the plain white and gray wash look. That's beachy. All right, and then I actually generally prefer to tape most of my big pieces down. It's just a little less messy, and the tape or the Stamp and Seal runner holds things really nicely. So I think that looks great with the white weathered look and this cardstock, which is the color Lagoon. I think I probably want to put a little bit of, I'm going back and forth here. I want to put a little bit of grass here, since I can. Just maybe tie it a little bit more into the front of the card. Okay, so this has all had a little bit more time to dry. Now for coloring, I'm going to color the Beach Shack using just these 3 colors from a Tri-Blend marker. This is the Gold Browned Blend, and I'm going to use the lightest shade for most of the shack itself. I hope you're not seeing this glare from my little light and the mat. Try and cover it up. I love using alcohol markers. They color nicely. You can blend them. You get nice vivid colors. Of course, this is kind of a neutral color I'm using here, but okay. And then I'm going to use the medium color. I'm going to put that on the front edge of the roof here. And I'm still using a lot of my close to my heart products that I have in my room while I collect every color of the Stampin' Up! Products. Stampin' Up! Has alcohol blend pens as well. So far I only have 4, but I hope to keep working on that. And they work just like this. Markers are really one of my favorite tools. All right. Let's see, I'll put the medium around this window. So you can see just using a slightly different shade of the same color adds a lot of interest to the image and some depth to the card itself. All right, we're gonna do, I think that's it. Now we'll go to the darker color. And with the darkest shade, I'm gonna do the underside of the roof. And then this ramp that goes down. And so I'm just coloring right over where some of that stamped grass went. And it'll either look like it goes behind the board or in front of it. Either way is fine. And then we'll color the supports down here. Okay, so we're done with the brown. Now, I like to use a really light blue to kind of outline some things if you're looking against the sky. I don't really want to do a lot of coloring in the sky, but I think sometimes just putting, even if I had a lighter shade than this, it would be good. But this shade goes really nice with the cardstock that I'm using. And I'll color in the window. I hope you feel like there's a blue sky out in this beach picture. Okay, and then I think I'll just do a little bit of outlining on part of the beach shack here with this blue. Maybe a little bit over here, some here. So I'm not outlining everything, just adding in a little bit of color, like shading to this. Okay, I think I'm gonna, for my flag, I'll go with the darkest shade of the same color blue. We'll have a nice blue flag flying today. I don't know what a blue flag means. Red flag means don't swim, I know that. But I'm gonna put some other red on the page. So I think now I can tape this one down there. Look how great that looks with the different layers of matting. So let's tape that. So you can see this has quite a few layers to it, and we are not done yet. I really like that. That looks great. Okay, now we're gonna pop up a few more things here. We're gonna add this little life preserver that I cut out of red cardstock. We're going to add these two surfboards over here. And I also have to stamp the sentiment, which I forgot to do. So we'll do that now, which is here somewhere. Okay, here we go. So we've got the wishing you a beautiful day, or enjoy today. I really like wishing you a beautiful day, because don't we really wish that for everyone? And for many people, like me, a day at the beach is a beautiful day. All right, I'm gonna do that in the mocha as well. I thought I had everything all set, but I guess I forgot a couple of things. Alrighty. Now, I think I'm gonna wanna put this on the card base. So let me do that next. We might even want to stamp something on the envelope. Let's give that a little thought while we work to assemble this card. So before I pop up these things, because I'm going to be using dimensionals for all that, let me tape this down. I I think this is really pretty. I would be very happy to receive a card like this. Okay, I mean, even just like that, that's pretty fantastic looking card, isn't it? But we can bling it up a little bit. So I think I want to cut this down because I don't need it all that big. That'll give me a little more room for the surfboards over on the side. So I think I'll put them like that. And this one I will tape down, or you could glue. And then this other one I'll pop up with some dimensionals. These surfboards really add some fun color to it. And they can go beyond the border of your white scene that you created. Now I want to add a little bit more contrast to this, or it kind of gets lost in the white with the white wood background and the white cardstock. So I'm just going to drag the edges through my Mocha ink pad, and that'll give it like a nice dark crisp edge. There, can you see that? You can always do that to the edge of any paper to give some more contrast. I will use some dimensionals on this as well. So you can see this has a lot of different layers and different things popping up. Don't want to put it upside down. All right, I think I want this kind of just, there we go. So I wanted all of the edges of the layers to show, but I also wanted to let a little bit of that sand show through. Now, this life preserver is very small, so I'm gonna try and see if the mini dimensionals, they don't quite fit. They're a little too big. So I have some really tiny, really tiny pop darts, I think they were called before, pop dots. Normally I would cut this mini dimensional into 2 or 3 pieces, but I don't have my scissors right by my side at the moment, which is a rare occurrence. Usually my scissors are right by my side. Sorry if that light is shining right in the video. Hopefully I'm not blinding anyone. All right, so really tiny little 3-dimensional pieces of tape. And you know, you might want to just glue this if you don't have those, but I like the way it pops up just a little bit. So there is the front of the card all done. And now let's do a little bit of coloring here on the inside. I don't want to use too many different colors. So I have a green and the blue that I used on the front. So let's see what we can get there. I think maybe we'll do the umbrella, green and blue. And then I'll do the same thing over here with this beach ball. If you wanted to pull out all your markers, you certainly can go crazy with all the colors. And then I think I'll use the medium of the blue for the rest of the umbrella here. That'll kind of tie it in with the cardstock on the front. We might as well do our chair that color too. Doesn't this make you just want to go sit in this little folding chair with the breeze blowing and an umbrella keeping the sun mostly off you, except you want to get a little bit. You scoot it out from under the umbrella. Put the same colors over here on the beach ball. And then I'm gonna go back to my browns and I'm just gonna color in maybe some of the shells with the lightest color that we have here. Not all of them, just some. And then let's put some color in parts of the sandcastle here. Maybe I'll go to the medium color as well and put a little bit more dimension to it. You can do whatever you want really with the coloring. I think that looks pretty good though. All right, I think this is coming out amazing. So see how you can see how the coloring went through this. So if I had done that here on the inside of my card, you would see it on the back, which is of course not the end of the world. I don't think anybody is gonna say, oh no, she went to all this trouble to make this card, but look, her coloring shows through on the back. So, you know, you don't have to worry about that. You can certainly just color in the card. But this gives it a nice extra layer and some more dimension. And you know what? This little birdie really needs to be colored in blue for Blueberry Canary crafting. I know you don't really see canaries at the beach, but he's just so darn cute. All right, there you have it. Wishing you a beautiful day. And happy birthday for this one. You could use it for other occasions, of course. Now, before I did this one in blue, which I really like, I also did one with a bright green summery color. And I'd love to know which one you like best. So leave me a comment. Maybe I'll make them in several different colors. Well, I am wishing you a beautiful day and thanks for joining me.